Hi there, welcome to VeChain Wyckoff Technical Analysis session. Here we are continuing to look at where VeChain is heading because 2 weeks has already passed and we all know that VeChain has been accumulating for quite a while already and it's getting near the inflection point. Let's find out where it's heading. Here, the weekly chart that we usually start with, we can see quite a bit of upward momentum this week. It's not as fierce as it can be, like hitting back to the orange key level of 0.026. It's basically still at a stage where it's kind of trading horizontally. But 2 weeks ago, I've already drawn these two lines. I adjusted a little, basically making it tighter to the tip of the wicks of the candles, basically especially the lower line. The upper line I haven't adjusted much. So the thing is, these two lines are about to cross at the first week of October. A lot of times these, when these happens, I would say it's not the common scenario where a breakout would happen at that point. It usually happens a week or two or maybe even earlier before that point where the line crosses. And also, besides that particular point, there's one point that's also around there but happening earlier, right here. That's around end of this month, so about 3 weeks from now. This is an ascending triangle. So in addition to the stage where VeChain is at backup or last point of support inside the accumulation cycle of Wyckoff, it is also near the tip of an ascending triangle of candlestick patterns analysis. So these two indications both pointing to a breakout is about to happen. And let's add to it is the third indication. If you're not new to my sessions, you know I always check this Bollinger Band Keltner squeeze indicator. The squeeze has already happened, well, way back since June, and it has been fluctuating within this narrow range, and the range got very narrow right now in the past 6 weeks. You see the wave has been shrinking and shrinking in the past 6 weeks. It's basically oscillating. It's not even a swing anymore. So that's the sign of the accumulation or consolidation in other people's terms is getting to a very intense stage. And you see these two purple lines are basically horizontal. It doesn't go like this or like this anymore. So that's a sign of, let's say, if you imagine a microwave, that's nearly the time where the thing is about to happen. So going back to the chart, weekly, here, let me switch off the Bollinger Band Keltner squeeze indicator. Remember three key indications we have covered. This pattern, this ascending triangle, both are candlestick pattern analysis, pointing towards like near the end of this month, maybe in 2 weeks time, as soon as 2 weeks, in 2 weeks time, the breakout will happen. And then obviously the Wyckoff stage where it is at, near the end of accumulation. I hope that the breakout, when it happens, is not heading towards the downside. You see here, it can happen, just that it's like the final shakeout before the pump. So while I say it's going to break out and the chance to get to the upper side, like given all these indications, let's say if the PSY is to happen and it's like eventually the buying climax. Let me put some question marks over here, similar to what I did in other sessions. So while this is the more likely case, let's say 80%, the chance of it coming for another test or even a spring before the actual pump or the rocket launch, let's say that's 20%. Always when we put in an order, well, that's my practice, you don't have to follow, but just to give you some thoughts, even if the winning chance is high, always closely monitor and adjust your stop loss, because we never know what the big guys are going to do. They can make the price swing however they want. So that's the point I'm trying to make here. So let's get to the daily chart and see what's happening over there, given the momentum or the squeeze is getting to an intense stage in the weekly. So here, same thing. It's basically the same backup or last point of support period that we are seeing. These bottoms, these candles, if I turn it to a line chart, it's easier. These tips over here are one higher than another. So the trend hasn't changed since 2 weeks ago when I last covered VeChain. So let's calculate. 2 weeks was basically around here. So 2 weeks we had another dip over there, but then the trend is still the same. The price is basically still above this yellow dashed line. So that's a good sign for like a build up towards the upside. And you see it's getting narrower and narrower and reaching, well, here is a bit interesting because the time frame it's pointing to is August 17th. That can happen because the swings we can see from a daily chart would be different from that of the weekly. So that's where we're looking at, and the point over here is around beginning of October or end of September. That's the weekly, and the daily there seems to be more room, but then I always mention the daily is governed or constrained by the weekly. So when the weekly start to move, this breakout will happen before getting even close to the tip. So that's the point for the daily time frame. So while it's still trading within this triangle, when the weekly start to move, this unavoidably will follow. Looking at the volume, we had some pretty high bars or tall volume bars back in end of August, but then it dipped or like dropped quite significantly back to about 1 million daily. Previously it was like 20-ish million. Only on September 1st, Monday, and the 2nd, we got back to about half of those crazy volume back in August. Now it slowly declined to where it's used to be in basically end of August. So now is the time, it seems to be like the time that, say, silent water before the storm comes. So final check with the same indicator. We see from this previous squeeze back in July, early July, has brought us to the sign of strength all the way through July 21st. And then the price came back down to the test level and on August 2nd. Now it is slowly consolidating again, and the squeeze power is getting more intense. So when this squeeze power is finally released, that's when the big move is going to show. So one interesting thing here is the price is somewhere around the middle at the moment. I would say a lot of times the price tends to swing towards the other side of the channel. So if it's at the lower half of the channels, the tendency of it is to swing towards the upside. It's a common scenario, but not 100% always happen that way. just saying. You can turn this Bollinger Band Kernel Squeeze indicator on your own charts because it's free. You can look at it and just backtest or backtrace and just take note of how frequent these squeezes happens and whether they how often when the price is at the upper half of the channel they swing to the downside, and how many times at the lower half of the channel they swing to the upside. So for now, a squeeze has been or has started basically all the way back to end of July, and you see the purple lines. Only this short period of time, those few days, it has gone outside of the orange. So that means a massive force is accumulating. So, hey, thank you, Robert. Thank you for your kind words and support. So, in summary, all the indicators are pointing towards a big move is near. So, especially we're already in September. The time that we have waiting for since the beginning I covered VeChain, it's about to reveal. So I wish everybody for the best. If you are you have invested in VeChain, hopefully we'll see something that happens back in basically 2024, either the beginning, the first quarter, or the end of 2024. So the time frame seems to be pretty close to when the year end of 2024 distribution cycle happened. So let me move the chart a little. That was the time around early November. We are a little bit early this year. I hope something similar will happen. We don't know where or how far the buying climax would go. Hopefully, it's at least going to hit the light blue key level of 0.0